What's up, guys? Hey, do me a favor, hit the like button when you come in. What's up, guys? Hey, do me a favor, hit the.
All right, that should be much better. That should sound much better, at least. My apologies. What's up, team? Are you bullish or bearish on these AMD earnings? Are you bullish or bearish on AMD's earning report? Let me know. There we go. Call option or put option? Let me know. Oh, I'm red. I'm down like 80 something on the day, but we're okay. You know, yesterday we made some money, I think, right? I think we did. No, we lost money yesterday too. It's okay. Last week we made money all week. We had no losing days last week, and so we're still good. You know, I'm just glad today I didn't give too much money back to the market. The market basically stayed pretty much sideways all day. No big good moves. AMD's kind of forming a triangle-like pattern. We'll see which way it breaks. Yeah, I'm good. It's all good. Call or put on AMD pre-earnings. Call or put on AMD pre-earnings. AMD starting to break down now. We'll see what happens. What other earnings do we have today? We got a few of them. We've got Uber tomorrow. We got Airbnb, LYFT. That's really it. Nothing else is big today. We got StarBucks. That's probably a big one we should talk about maybe. It's the symbol for Starbucks. It's just SBUX, right? I think that's it. Yeah, there's Starbucks. All right. AMD starting to break down. Let me know what you guys think. Pre-earnings. Up 3K on SNOA shorting. Hey, nice, man. Airbnb today also. Yeah, for sure. Here's Starbucks. Here's Airbnb. Here's LYFT. LYFT is kind of trending with the market. Airbnb is down. Trending very much so down today. Earnings are supposed to drop in about 18 minutes or so. Hey, what's up, Pawn? But yeah, let me go ahead and share the stream. Y'all do me a favor, hit the like button. I haven't even shared it anywhere yet. So here, let me share. From a technical amount, from a TA standpoint, that AMD chart looks like it could pop on earnings. Yeah, I mean, if we look at like a 4-hour chart, it just depends on how much you believe in AMD here. You know, AMD, it's just been trending so much with the market. This thing's down so much over the last like 6 months or so. Like here, yeah, look at the last 180 days. Really, it's back since December. December, this one just started to just crash here, man. And so this thing started to creep down in December. Yeah, man. Look at AMD since December. Whew. Like, look at this chart right here. This is really the one that's telling. Just the last. Really, it's not even that. It's just the last month or so. I gotta say AMD's a buy. I tend to think AMD's a buy, bro. Look how down this thing is, man. This thing is down so much since April, just April. You know, even worse. Like I said, the downward move started late March. Like right at the end of March, this thing came all the way down from 125s. You know, and it got up to 164, but you know, this is where the real dive started to happen. I mean, it's been a few, but this thing is down massively over the last year. So I gotta say it's cheap here, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Terrible day for the broader market, the SPY, you know, futures market, just crappy. Slow is the problem. Like the market's just slow. Sideways, not really much going on. And we're either hit or miss with these earnings. Like we'll see what happens. You know, if the market trends well, great. But if not, it's all good. You know. Let's see what happens. Market's closing in 14 minutes, so you know we don't have long. In all honesty. Green or red so far today? I'm red, like I said. Yeah, bro. AMD is gonna get destroyed. Most profitable puts for tomorrow. I don't know. Hey. Do it now. That's right. Hit the like button. I'm just hanging out, guys. I mean, like I said, I don't know what our views are going to be like for AMD earnings. We'll see how they go. The market's been purely sideways right now. I think everybody's kind of scared of the next meeting tomorrow. So everybody's scared of the Fed meeting tomorrow, and ultimately, you know, that's keeping people from really taking any major positions, I think. AMD included. AMD looks just like the SPY, just like the Q today. But you better believe it's going to affect the market once the bell closes. You know, we got 13 minutes until the close, and you know AMD is going to influence the market when it closes, you know, without question. And so we'll see. Earnings call is at 5 p.m. So it's in about an hour and 15 minutes. Green. Portfolio 1% down today. Just glad it wasn't more. Yeah, for sure. 100%, man. It is what it is. You know, it's not a terrible day for sure. I don't know anything about AMD fundamentals, but I believe they could benefit from that. They benefited from the chip shortage, and that could be over. Certainly possible, man. Certainly possible. I'm pretty sure they benefited from it as well. Yeah, that's certainly possible. You know. Yeah. All right, so looking at pawns, AMD 104 May 22nd call option. I don't hate it. I think that it's so extended on the downside, though. You know, I think it's so extended on the downside that like we might get some good action from it. Bro, don't forget the best emojis in the land right now. You know. Most humble stock trader right there, you know. But yeah, AMD started to break down. It's at 90.50s. We'll see if the support holds. Let's look at 90.50. I think that's a big support level. You know, it's reasonable to watch. If we look at the history over the last like hour or two, we've been bouncing right around 90.50 or so, $half level. We also have $90 under there. We got the previous closing price at 89.84s here. So all of that stuff is relevant, I think, and I think we should probably pay attention to most of it. But again, who knows? You know, ultimately, if it has really bad earnings, it's just going to smash through these. And if it has really good earnings, it's going to break over these resistance levels up here, like 91.50, 92.20 up there at the high of the day. So this is what we got drawn so far. And who knows if it'll hold through these levels. But we're watching it. Oh, nice work, pawn. Good trade, bro. All right, guys, 9 minutes into the close. Again, we'll see what these earnings show up as then. We also have Airbnb earnings coming out. You know what I wish? I wish TD Ameritrade let me put up 3 windows here, 2 on top of each other stacked and then 1 on the side. That would be really nice. I know I can do that. Like I know I can draw it myself here. I guess I can. Here, let's try to do that. Hold on. I got this lotion one, bro. This lotion, it's interesting. I hate going into Bath and Body Works, but like this lotion smells good. The stress relief lotion. It's eucalyptus and spearmint. You know, don't judge me, guys. Don't judge me. This is it right here. When you get old, you appreciate this stuff, man. I'm telling you. I went with AMD calls for June 17th, 45 days out. Sounds reasonable, I think. What's the strike? My break even tomorrow is 92.25. Yeah, I could buy some options today. The problem is that options influence my buying power. Hey. That sells, hey, you know. All right, we got about 70 people here. Hey, y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish in AMD. Earnings coming up in about 8 minutes. We'll see. It's not a huge earnings day. Gave up for a bit. It happens, man. You'll give up, come back, give up, come back. That's what I did. I've given up trading, especially in the beginning. You know, I gave up trading a few times, and you know, you'll get the itch to trade again. When you come back, you're usually a lot more risk adverse too. You know, I think when initially the thrills of gambling get people in trading, and then you know they quit, and to a certain extent, those losses are necessary because it ultimately encourages risk management in a heavier way. And so I think with that, a lot of people give up and then come back. You know, because they know that it's possible to be profitable, but they're more risk adverse. I think that's what a lot of people do. What's MSTR? I know AMD, Airbnb, Starbucks. What's MSTR? I don't know that one. Hey, y'all hit that like button. Vote on the poll right now. We got 65 votes so far. 71% are AMD bulls. 29% are AMD bears. Let's try to get the same type of engagement on the like button team if you haven't already. All right, we got the AMD earnings call at 5. So y'all be ready for that too. Let me know if y'all can hear the music. Y'all can hear the music, right? Y'all should be able to. AMD bull flag. What is it? Micro what? What's the stock? I'm looking at it now. Hold on. Yes, here it is. It's... What other earnings are today? Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy. All right, guys. AMD starting to push up. It's over 91s now. Over 91s. Now, we'll see if it continues. AMD has not disappointed earnings last 3 years. Why would they now? I'm bullish. Okay, well, good luck, dude. Hope you make money, brother. Yeah, honestly, every earnings stream I've done has mostly been losing earnings. You know? MSTR. Yeah. All right, AMD starting to pop up. Closing bells in 3 minutes, team. 3 minutes. Let's do this. Told my 4-year-old I was sick, and she brought me her chocolate milk and said, "Here, drink this chocolate milk. It makes you feel better." Yeah, 4-year-olds are cool, man. They good age, bro. Just a fun age, man. 3 million left. Good luck. Hey, 3 minutes left. Oh, I'm so used to millions. Yeah, I'm so used to reading earnings. Yeah, 3 minutes left, team. The earnings should be released within like 10 minutes after the bell, I would say. Usually that's kind of the time frame. It's about 10 minutes after the bell. Again, y'all hit the like button, man. Run those numbers up. We're at 22 likes. Bring that. Let's try to hit like 50 before the close. You know you want to. Do it now. We got 70 votes on the poll. Hit that up too. Who has the biggest bet on AMD? 3 minutes. Hey, 2 minutes now, guys. AMD at 91s. We're mostly sideways. We got this nice little range to attack, though, here. You know, here's the range. Again, I got to be bullish on these earnings reports. If AMD, I'll put it this way. If AMD earnings are not good, if AMD does not react positively to these earnings, I should say, I'm probably going to buy the dip that comes in, if there is a dip that comes in. You know, we've got our buying power ready. And so if the earnings do not disappoint, we're probably going to be buying this dip, a pretty large dip, you know. And so if we get a negative reaction, we'll probably buy it up. And, you know, we're holding a piece. But if it's positive, great, you know. And if it's negative, we'll probably just add to it. Because AMD's down so much already, and I really do truly believe in AMD as a company. The only problem is that, like, Intel kind of has, like, a monopoly over some things. I think AMD is solid, too, though. And so I think they're both good. And, yeah. Let me know what you guys think. this is bad way for $75 to buy. Big buy opportunity. Yeah, man. The problem with this poll is that it kind of blocks the chat, right? Oh, I got the emojis pressed. If I get rid of the emojis, then it won't do that, right? Yeah, I think that's right. There we go. Yeah, click the keyboard button if you're used to pressing the emojis and it blocks the screen. There we go. Yeah, smash the like button, guys. All right, so there's the bell, guys. So the earnings should be released anytime in the next like 14, 15 minutes. Anytime in the next 14 or 15 minutes, the earnings should release. Maybe it's now. I'm pulling up all my news sources to report these live as they happen, so just bear with me. Pull this up. Pull the stream up so we can watch a little bit of both. All right, let's check out AMD. We're going to look at all of them. So we're going to report AMD as soon as they come out. We're going to report MSFT. Not MSFT, MFSN. MSTR. We're going to look at Airbnb. All right, guys, so let's see what these earnings show. Nothing out for AMD yet. Nothing out yet. Airbnb, nothing yet either. Let me know as soon as you get the numbers, team. Because we're going to report them live here as soon as we get them too. Yeah, it just forces you to vote. Do you think AMD earnings might make NVIDIA move as well, since they're in the same sector? Yeah, probably. Micros. Usually that's how it goes. All right, so AMD popping up a little bit pre-earnings up to 91.30s. Nothing released yet, at least not that I'm seeing. Okay, so MicroStrategy just dropped their numbers. So MicroStrategy did just come out with their numbers. So MSTR just dropped their numbers here for MicroStrategy. And so I'll report these in a second. All right, so MicroStrategy reports a first quarter loss. There's Airbnb pop. Here's where is it? Here's MSTR. So MicroStrategy reported a first quarter loss per share of $11.58, first quarter loss of $130.8 million, first quarter revenue of $119.3 million. And that is MicroStrategy. We're also going to be looking at AMD, nothing out yet. So MicroStrategy reported those numbers. Still waiting for Airbnb, nothing yet on that end either. Yeah, let's see Uber now. Yeah, let's see LYFT. Nothing's come out for LYFT yet. We do have Airbnb. It looks like they reported something. So let's talk about Airbnb here. Here's Airbnb. It looks like somebody knows something because I don't see any movement here for Airbnb. Or I don't see any numbers that are reported for Airbnb yet. All right, still nothing for AMD. Still waiting on those. MicroStrategy did drop their numbers. Airbnb is just volatile, but nothing's out yet. All right, look, there's a big move for AMD. It looks like their numbers just came out. Maybe Bloomberg Terminal has them. Still nothing substantial here, though, format. Airbnb is moving. Airbnb beat. All right, nothing out yet. So the only one that I'm seeing that dropped theirs is MicroStrategy. That's the only thing that drops. The numbers are out. All right, so here goes Airbnb. So Airbnb just reported numbers here. So Airbnb did report numbers. Airbnb is showing a first quarter EPS of 3-cent loss per share, beat the 29-cent loss per share estimate by about 90%. Here, we're going to report this too. Here's Airbnb's numbers. So Airbnb did drop these. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we're going to post these here. Here's Airbnb. All right. Airbnb Still nothing for AMD. Airbnb reported a EPS of 3 cent per share loss, which beat the analyst consensus estimate of 29 cent per share loss by almost 90%. And Airbnb's ripping up on this. Airbnb's ripping up. AMD just broke highs as well, so I'm assuming something came out with them. 1.5 billion in revenue, beat the 1.45 billion estimate, is what this shows too. So yeah, so Airbnb dropped. Here, we're gonna cover this up. Still waiting on AMD, nothing yet. Here's the Airbnb numbers. So they're flying up on it. AMD still doesn't have anything out yet, but these are the AMD numbers so far. Nothing out for AMD yet. Everybody that's here, we got 200 people here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Do it now. We trade a $30,000 account with $120,000 in buying power every day at the opening bell, live on stream. And so, hey, we're just a resource and community. We don't sell anything. We don't charge for anything. We don't claim to be experts. We just give everything away for free. So take the time, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You know you want to. Nothing for AMD yet. And again, we do have the Airbnb numbers. Second quarter revenue. Okay, so we're going to drop the full Airbnb numbers real quick here. All right, almost done. 1.97 estimate. All right, so here's the full Airbnb numbers right here. If you want the full Airbnb numbers, we're still waiting for AMD numbers to come out. You can see Airbnb on the right. These are their full numbers. They dropped an EPS, first quarter EPS of 3 cent loss per share, beat the analyst estimate of 29 cent loss per share. 1.51 billion in revenue, beat the 1.45 billion estimate. They saw for second quarter 2022 revenue of 2.03 billion to 2.13 billion versus a 1.97 billion estimate. So all the way around, Airbnb had better than expected numbers. And actually, I'm sorry, the 1.51 billion is a beat in sales. 1.51 billion beat in sales. 1.45 billion estimate. All right, well, thank you, Douglas. Who's Momo? But whoever it is, I appreciate it. Thank you. Whoever Momo is, I appreciate it. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. All right, still waiting on AMD. Nothing out yet. Nothing out yet. Airbnb had better than expected numbers, but we don't see any reaction yet to this. Or no, we see a good reaction from Airbnb. We're technically green on the day now for Airbnb now, so that's good. MSTR was the biggest loss per share I've ever seen. 11. Yeah, it just depends on the price per stock, but MSTR, it's looking kind of tough for them. You know, it's kind of how it goes. If we look at MSTR here, they didn't even really react to it. They're an expensive stock too, so I mean, it's a little bit different. You know, when you're $300-400 and $11 loss per share, you know, it's not good. Oh, sorry. It's not good, obviously, but it's not like they even super reacted to it, I would say. They're not reacting much to it. Starbucks earnings. Yeah. Starbucks. When are AMD dropping their numbers here? All right, here's Starbucks. We can look at this real quick too. Starbucks put in second quarter EPS of 59 cent per share, which was in line with estimates according to Reuters. So we could drop this too. But yeah, Starbucks is basically break-even earnings. I'm still waiting on AMD. Nothing out yet. So yeah, Starbucks just dropped their numbers. Airbnb dropped everything. Man, look at Starbucks just dive down. Starbucks just basically tanked. Huge drop for Starbucks. Wow. Still nothing for AMD. Yeah, the earnings call is at 5 p.m. So the earnings call is at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's when they review the earnings. But the earnings report generally drops within 15 minutes after the bell. So we're about 10 minutes after the bell now. So we still got some time. We got maybe 5 minutes. It could happen, anytime really. Starbucks dropped second quarter adjusted EPS of 59 cents, in line with estimate sales of 7.6 billion. So AMD just ripped up here, guys. AMD just ripped up. So AMD just dropped their numbers here. So AMD just flew up here. Here's Starbucks really quick. Here's Starbucks' numbers. But AMD just ripped up on better than expected earnings. We're going to cover this here. I told you guys I thought we would bounce for AMD. I told you guys. Just waiting to report what this actually is. So give me 1 second. I see the numbers that are... Whoa, sorry. Huge move here. Yeah, here's the AMD numbers. Let's talk about it. So AMD posted first quarter adjusted EPS of 113 cents per share profit, beat the 91 cent estimate. Sales of 5.89 billion, beat the 5.52 billion estimate. So better than expected numbers. They beat EPS numbers. Here, we're gonna drop it right here. We got all of it right here. Here's the AMD numbers right here, guys. So AMD dropped first quarter adjusted EPS of 113 cents per share profit, beat the 91 cent per share profit estimate. Sales of 5.89 billion, beat the 5.52 billion estimate. So I told you guys, man, I need to start going with this, bro. Like, I know it's a gamble to buy stocks pre-earnings, but I think it's an understandable trade idea if something is really extended on the downside like AMD is, to bet that their earnings report is going to be good. Because my logic behind this trade is, generally speaking, when a company has bad earnings, or when a company gets really beat up over a specific period of time, I think it's understandable to assume that the company is going to work extra hard in order to have good enough earnings the next earnings report. And so with that, AMD is going to really strive to have good results here, so they don't drop even more, since they're down like freaking, they're down 50% in the last 6 months or whatever it is. And so with that, it's an understandable kind of sentiment bet on the upside here for stuff like AMD. And this is not just the first one I've been right about. I was right about the last like 3 or 4. And so I might have to try to maybe attack some options. I think is the smartest move here. To see if I can find some reasonable options for stuff like this. I think that's a logical trade idea. Let me know what you guys think, or if you think it would even work. I'm just kind of speculating and guessing here. But yeah, AMD with good numbers. Dropped first quarter adjusted EPS of 113 cents per share in profit, beat the 91 cent per share estimate. Sales of 5.89 billion, beat the 5.52 billion estimate. I like that logic. It seems like it makes sense. Like I said, you guys got to understand. The last one I called was Apple, Amazon, and a few other ones. So I've been right a few different times about this. So, I'm not, of course, I have no idea if I'd be right again. I'm just guessing here. I don't even know if it'd be a viable trading strategy. But, yeah, it's a risky play. Buying pre-earnings is always risky, 100%. It's always kind of a lotto, a gamble. But I think options make sense, though. I think to a certain extent, you can buy some cheap option contracts and then capitalize when they go up. And then if they don't go up, or if they're so extended on the downside, then I think even if they had bad earnings, they wouldn't just crash. I think they might just drop some. So I think the downside would be less severe than the upside if you find some really extended stocks, if that logic makes sense. But I don't know, maybe. I know AMD's flying up. AMD's at $95 a share. So AMD's doing great, better than expected earnings. AMD posted second quarter sales of 6.3 to 6.7 billion. We're going to drop everything else in here too. So these are the numbers so far. All right, second quarter sales of 6.3 to 6.7 billion. Fiscal year 22 sales. All right, so here's the numbers. First quarter adjusted EPS of 113 cent per share profit, beat the 91 cent per share estimate. Sales of 5.89 billion, beat the 5.52 billion estimate. Second quarter sales of 6.3 to 6.7 billion, beat the 6.38 billion estimate. So all around on the higher end of second quarter sales, beat the estimate for first quarter adjusted EPS, beat the sales estimate as well. It's all around good numbers here for AMD. Nothing bad. It's not really mixed. It's almost all positive. The only slightly in line with estimates, but on the higher end of estimates, was the second quarter sales numbers. But everything else was better than expected. So, yeah, great results for AMD. Hey, what's up, Armand? What's up, dude? I trusted your guts, bought $100 or 100 call on AMD. Hey, nice, Alexandra. I hope you're banking, brother. Like I said, I don't really like people copying me. Of course, I'm not liable if anybody's ever wrong, if I'm wrong, of course, but I'm happy to see you make money, brother. I really am. Congrats, dude. Happy I can help, man. Again, I don't know if I'll always be right, so I'd be very weary, just copying anything I do. But I've been right a lot, But again, don't copy me. Did say that it's still not over 95 with those results. In terms of percentages, AMD's a big stock. It's not a penny stock. It's not going to make crazy big percentages. It really just depends, I think. Yeah, for sure. What's the guidance? We gotta wait for the guidance mostly for okay. Oh wait, we do have guidance. My bad. Here's the guidance. This is according to Benzinga, by the way. For AMD, this is the AMD guidance for the most part. Here's some more numbers too. So it's not just that. There's the guidance, and then we can also drop this. Here we also have this quote here, guys. Here's the guidance right here, number one, and then we also have AMD on, and it's all according to Benzinga. You can find a link to Benzinga in the chat. It's basically one of the ways I'm able to find these big news releases, and you can try them out completely free for 2 weeks without even needing a credit card number. Check out the link in the description. But yeah, AMD on the second quarter sales growth guidance, they said that, quote, the quarter-over-quarter increase is expected to be primarily driven by Xilinx and high server revenue, end quote. So that's pretty good. LYFT tanks, thanks for covering this. Hey, happy to help, Felix. Crypto is going to crash the market. Freaking algos trained to it. I got 120 AMD call. Think I'll be okay. It depends on what your strategy is, Brooklyn. I'll put it this way. You don't have to hit your strike price in order to profit from call options. Just upward volatility and upward movement should make your call options more valuable than when you bought them, if you bought them pre-earnings. Now, if you're basically asking if you're going to be okay waiting to see if AMD eventually hits your strike price in time, that's a different story. But if you're just looking to sell into the upward momentum that you get from something like this, then you should be fine right now. But again, it just depends on what your strategy is, like what you're planning to do there. Because again, it could... AMD's up now, but nothing's guaranteed, and certainly not guaranteed to hit 120. I think it'll eventually obviously hit 120, but if and when is, a different thing. Hey, thank you. Yeah, what was the expiry? Hey, thank you, Felix. All right, guys. So yeah, AMD bumped up. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish. Do you think earnings call has the potential to crash it due to the chip shortage speculation? No, I don't think it's going to crash it. I think it might affect it some, but I don't think it's going to crash it. Generally, I mean, usually it's not what happens, but sometimes it can. I guess it's not outside the realm of possibility. It's just unlikely, but it could. Hey, thank you, Brooklyn. I appreciate it. We need EXT hours for options. Yeah, man, I'm surprised options don't allow you to. Yeah, man, I used to love to trade AMD. I used to absolutely love AMD, and I still do. I think back then, truly what I liked trading was the SPY in the market. You know, I liked AMD, but I think I make more. I think trading just the SPY directly is the right move on those fronts. All right, but yeah, here's the AMD numbers. If you're just not joining us, there's the AMD numbers. Again, the big thing to consider here with these AMD results is like, look how extended AMD is, even just in the last even in the last month or so. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm over here typing, but yeah, there's AMD. AMD gave up the ghost when it lost $100. This market is extremely difficult, even if you blow earnings and guidance out the water. Yeah, it's a tough market, man. If you saw the Netflix earnings and the Apple earnings and everything like that, it's just been a hard market to make money in. It's been a hard market to make money, and it's been a hard market to trade. I mean, it hasn't been that hard of a market to trade. Today was tough, but I made money every day last week. I didn't have one losing day last week. It was beautiful trading last week. This week, a little bit different, but last week was great. Hard market for gambling on earnings. Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. I don't usually gamble on earnings. You know, if I did, I'd probably use options. I usually lotto a few out of the money calls and puts. Got some calls on dirt cheap just for fun. Nice. RSI cooled off. That volume is really low for AMD. Wait for pre. Fed meeting tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. New York City time. Yeah, for sure. Fed meeting. The reason the markets have been dull and slow is because of the Fed meeting. You know, the Fed meeting, everybody's apprehensive and indecisive right now. Nobody really wants to make a decision or really wants to go heavy volume or heavy risk in anything. And so with that, we're just getting sideways action in the SPY, the Q, AMD pre earnings report too. Yeah, today was a nightmare to trade the SPY as a whole, bro. The SPY was just pure sideways, dude. What's up, Larry? Fed's pumping tomorrow. We'll see. I'm surprised it's not over 100. It's close. It's at 95, basically. Again, I think AMD's been trending with the broader market, and if we look at like the Q, or we look at the SPY, right? We look at the SPY. The SPY hasn't been trending great, you know. Here's an hour chart. So AMD's just been trending with the SPY. The whole market's weighing it down is what's going on. Like the market's been doing this. And so with that, you know, any large cap company is going to have a really difficult time just kind of trending against the market and kind of fighting and swimming against the current, so to speak, in trading terms. And so with that, you know, AMD is, even though it had great earnings, these are really good numbers. It's still, you know, it's still not making the most prolific move, you know. I'm not gambling earnings. I've been holding AMD for a while, but I was expecting a higher jump if earnings was beat. Yeah, for sure. I feel you, Micros. I'm not saying you're gambling, brother. I know. It's all good, man. All right, earnings call is going to be in about 35 minutes, 30 minutes or so. I like the Facebook meta jump last week. Got me excited. Yeah, for sure. And it was actually rare. You know, we had the Netflix drop, which I think caused this overarching bullish sentiment. But like, we'll see. I think AMD numbers are great for the market. I think it'll at least cause its small bump in numbers. You know, which is good. Y'all hit the like button, guys. Let's at least break 100 likes. We got 83 right now. Do it now. What's up, Jay? Forecast was Apple. Apple was it down 40% from highs? Yeah, well, I mean, I think microchips are going to be more broadly affected by the markets, the economy, than anything else as well. You know, the microchip shortage might be running out. And so with that, you know, I think people's sentiment on microchip stocks are going to be a little bit less confident than, say, Apple, you know, because people are at home, they're using computers, they're buying computers. You know, they're buying iPhones, you know, and AMD did really, really well. But again, the problem is that chip shortage isn't going to last forever. And so I think I think stock traders aren't stupid. You know, I think they understand and they can kind of go with the flow in terms of sentiment with these type of sectors. And I think that's probably why AMD dipped so much, is because it was a little bit too high you know, rejection. I still think it's a little bit overreaction. I think it's probably oversold down here. But yeah, I think that's the basic, at least that makes logical sense to me on why this is all going on and why this is happening and why it's not just a big reaction to these earnings. But again, let me know what you guys think in chat. What happened to Twitter? Is Elon over there tweeting? Let's report this news as well. We probably should, right? All right, I'm looking for the Twitter stuff. All right, I'm looking at Elon here. All right, so Elon has been a tweeting today, guys. Elon has been a tweeting today. Let's see, he posted the tiger's butt earlier. Like, that was posted yesterday. I'm sorry, that was yesterday that Elon posted the tiger butt. He also has said, quote, since then, sunlight is the best disinfectant. He made one post about that. He also made another post that said, who funds these blank who control access to info? Let's investigate. And he referenced an article on Twitter. And then he said, quote, ultimately the downfall of Freemasons was giving away their stone cutting services for nothing, end quote. So he has been tweeting, especially the who controls your info tweet is a little bit more controversial, I would say. Man, let me know what you guys think. All right, AMD still sitting at roughly 95. Yeah. You think Elon will ever run for president? Actually, no, he can't. He wasn't born in the U.S., right? He's South African, correct? So yeah, he can't be president. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. Elon wants the SEC. Same thing will happen after a 0.25 raise. Kind of look like a mini cup and handle. Yeah, AMD's still up there. I mean, it's pulling back to 94. I think 94 is a big level. Look at all the confirmation at 94. Let's see if it bounces. Yeah, Elon's not just the richest African American. He's the richest person ever. You know, he's the richest person ever. He's the richest guy in the world. He's the richest person in the world. And so he's not just the richest South African. He's the richest person. You know, what a crazy life. Hey, what's up, Jackson? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that Elon needs to stay off of Twitter. Ironically, as he buys it, I think Elon needs to stay off of Twitter. I think he needs to just stop. You know, I don't think it's good for. I think if he genuinely wants the Twitter deal to go through, I think he just needs to chill. You know, calm the waters a little bit, so to speak, before he allows that purchase to go through. I think the more he acts up on Twitter the more he's going to build up people that want to see it not happen. You know what I mean? I think the more he acts up on Twitter, the more he's going to build up a group of people that want to stop it from happening. All right, guys. AMD dipping down to 94s. We got the earnings call in about 25 minutes. Hey, what's up, Chris? And I don't know. I tend to support Elon, but I also think that I don't know. I think if he wants the Twitter deal to actually go through, and I think a Twitter deal needs to go through, I think it'll be good for the stock market. Even though he's going to take Twitter private, I think ultimately it'll be good for like optimism in the economy. Hey, nice, Dr. AMC GameStop. Let's see what AMC and GameStop are doing. Tesla at 909.2. AMC ripped up too. Hey, I'm not going to say I told you so. GameStop up to 120s. 94s for AMD, and it is a big support level. Yeah, I kind of feel the same. I mean, he's entertaining. I like Teslas. I like the cars, Teslas. I think he's a smart dude. I think he has to be smart because, I think my wife was talking to me about some article she read about how Elon, the founders of Tesla, basically said that Elon didn't do anything. And so maybe questioning his intelligence. And again, I think the reason Elon is intelligent is not because he has one successful company, but because he founded or was at least a part of a lot of really, really hyper successful companies. PayPal, Tesla, the Boring Company, SpaceX. He's buying Twitter. You know what I mean? I think that when you're part of that many really hyper successful companies, you got to be kind of smart. You got to be at least a little smart. Could he change his mind and keep it public? I don't know. LYFT. Let's see what LYFT is doing. Here's the SPY. I'm trying to see what AMD's earnings has a reaction on the SPY. So far, AMD has gone up. SPY hasn't done much. People are saying LYFT has influenced it too. Yeah, he probably has Asperger's, which general characteristics of Asperger's, if you don't know, is above average intelligence, just a little bit worse social cues. So like it's harder for them to be social, but they generally have above average intelligence or high intelligence, especially in like mathematics and STEM stuff, basically. Yeah, that's what I heard too, about the Emerald Mine or in the Emerald Mine. But I don't know. Yeah, if you hear him on the JRE, then you can kind of tell he's probably a little neurotic, but he's smart. Yeah. Yeah, but I think regardless of how rich his parents are, it's not luck that made him attached to so many hyper successful companies. I mean, I'm sure he got some help from his parents, but like you can't just say, "Oh, his parents are wealthy. That's the only reason." I think if you're the founder of PayPal or one of the founders of PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla's Boring Company, I don't think I think money helps, sure, but like you got to give him credit there, I think. So I'm sure the Lisa Su is going to talk during the earnings call, which is going to be in about 21 minutes. About 21 minutes. And I mean, at least he's thinking about the world's future in terms of. But I don't know how realistic the Mars plan is for him. I truly don't know how realistic it is. But like, at least he's trying, I guess. Yeah. Hey, thank you, SPAC. I appreciate the support, dude. I appreciate it. I've seen it on cartoons. Hey, yeah. I'm excited for the earnings call. We'll see what happens. But no, I appreciate it, SPAC, my man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate the support. Y'all be like SPAC. Hit the subscribe button. You know you want to do it now. Try it one time. Yeah. All right, so AMD up to 2470s. Let me know if you think it'll break $100 today. I think that's the question. After these good earnings, do you think AMD breaks 100 today? I have for you guys right now. After these good earnings, do you think AMD breaks over $100 a share today? Let me know. All right, guys. 100 today, 110 by end of day tomorrow. We'll see, Nicole. It could, man. It could. Well, we'll see. It's at 95s right now, roughly. So it's still got about $5 a share to go. New saying for J-Pow, reverse burr. Is it like the Gucci Mane burr? Is it like burr? Or is it like herb? You know, let me know which one. A or B. Let me know. 105 tomorrow. Yeah, there's no chance. It could. I mean, it could. We'll see. Tough to break 100. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. There's no way in heck AMD touches 100. I know that because I have calls. I mean, in terms of like a probability, breaking 100 today, I would say is unlikely considering the range. It's possible, but I would say it's definitely unlikely considering the range of today. So I don't think AMD is going to hit $100 today, but I think pre-market tomorrow is possible. J. Powell holding uncertainty fear in the markets after his remarkable pop runners and like AMD will outperform. I hope so. Market needs something good. I'm not trading extended hours. Yeah, we never know. It could, but I think considering the range, it's unlikely. You know, I think it's considering the range, it's unlikely. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, snap. Hey, yeah, you're going to be able to listen to the call, Andre. You're going to be able to listen to the call. Hold on one second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys. Sorry, I had to leave for a second. Red today for sure. We were red yesterday too, but last week we didn't have one losing day, so like we're still green in the last few weeks. It's a tough day. Yeah, we're gonna stream it. Don't worry, we're gonna stream it. It starts in about 15 minutes, and we're gonna stream the entire call live. We're gonna mute the music. We're gonna mute ourselves. We're gonna stream the entire call live, and only comment on it when there's pauses and stuff like that. So you'll be able to hear the entire thing completely live streamed here as well. If there is graphs and stuff, we'll have those up too. All right, guys. It's about guidance. If this has good guidance and then rockets, it'll bring up the semis in the market. O'Reilly after the Fed meeting. Yeah. So far, let me see if we have anything reported for guidance yet. I don't think they did. Yeah. So they did boost their guidance as well. So revenue of 5.9 billion, beat by 330 million. The top earnings and revenue expectations. Revenue jumped 71%. They said AMD on second quarter sales guidance. This was what we showed here. They said the quarter-over-quarter increase is expected to be primarily driven by, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this, Xilinx and higher revenue or higher service revenue. We got 13 minutes, guys. 13 minutes. Let me know what you guys think. LYFT is absolutely tanking here, though. But yeah, we'll wait to see what they say in terms of guidance for this. Nice. All right. Yeah, LYFT is dumping down here. AMD back up over 95, though. It's at 95.38. 95.38. I need Apple to go to 165 tomorrow. They're in the safe space now with their chips, so come on, AMD. Plus, I have 110 May 20th. AMD $102 call option expiring Friday should print. All right, guys. 95 strike will print. Yeah, 95 is already in the money right now, though. The only business I despise more the food. I see no negative catalyst after the Fed meeting tomorrow, so I'm banking on 405 being the bottom. Fed will be dovish talk tomorrow. Market pressure, relief pressure off AMD shorts will need to cover. Yeah, we'll see. Honestly, I think the market needs to say good things, man. The market, these Fed meetings have been just hitting the market heavily. And so I think if they say anything, it needs to be positive. I don't think they can just keep going out saying bad things and just tanking the market. I don't think that's healthy. I think eventually they're going to get some heat for that. And so I think the reality of it is, I think they need to... I think the reality of it is they need to say something positive, But who knows? Yeah, we're close. We're at 96. $4 more and we could hit 100. And again, I thought 100 was unlikely, but I mean, if we start breaking highs, it ultimately depends on what happens. We have less than 8 minutes until the earnings call, and so that's really going to dictate what happens here. I think is the earnings call. All right, guys. AMD at 96. Man, LYFT is getting destroyed right now. Bullish or bearish on LYFT, guys? Let me know. AMD going to dump back to the 90s. We'll see. It needs to reset. It might make AMC pop. I kind of want a Fed crash tomorrow. It's the fastest way to make maybe spring housing market. Last time Powell raised 0.25. The market bounced up. Yep, for sure. We'll see. Let me know. Bullish or bearish, guys. Let me know. I might go grab a soda real quick, guys, so I'll be right back. Let me get this set up for the AMD meeting so I can stream it live. So hold on 1 second. All right, so we're going to have a presentation. I guess I'm a journalist, right? I'm reporting. Right, I'm a journalist here. Right? All right, so I'm in the wait call. It starts in about 6 minutes. I'm the best journalist ever. I'm definitely top 3 journalists in the world right now. Bullish post Powell, let me know. J Powell, bull or bear? What's up, Chris? I'm gonna have to mark my negative comments so John doesn't read aloud. What negative comments, bro? Did you have any? I can't even read them. Honestly, I'm looking at it on StreamYard, right? So when I look at comments, some people get mad at me because they think I'm ignoring their comments. I'm really not. If you say anything that YouTube censors, then I'm not even going to be able to see it on the chat I'm using. So I can't even see which ones were like said and which ones not. And so if y'all are saying anything negative, I can't even see them because StreamYard doesn't show me the hidden comments. The only place that shows me it is YouTube, and I'm using StreamYard to manage the stream. So I can't even see the negative ones, Hey, no worries, DJ. Appreciate the support, dude. Airbnb. $350 more and hello 100. Yeah, we're getting there. We're at 96.50s, guys. 96.50s. About $3.55 right now. $3.60. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you're watching, team. 24% earnings, 17% up on revenue for AMD. Yeah, it was really good numbers. It was really good earnings results. Yeah, all good, Chris. I'm usually pretty good at stopping myself, but no, I appreciate the thought regardless, bro. Short interest on AMD. Man, look at LYFT getting destroyed. I kind of feel bad for LYFT, man. If short interest is like 2%, less than 2%. All right, let me get this. All right, guys. All right, guys. Less than 2 minutes. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish on AMD pre-earnings, guys. Let me know. There we go. Nice. All right, guys. Earnings coming up soon. All right, guys. So AMD pulling back to $96. Let's see if it holds there. It's right around 96. LYFT is still dumping down. Earnings call should be starting in less than a minute or two. We'll see what happens. Vote on the poll right now. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish. Nvidia went up. They had earnings also. Wait, Nvidia had earnings today? Did they really, bro? I would have streamed Nvidia earnings instead. Did they really have earnings today? Nobody put that on the charts. But no, they didn't have earnings today. You lie. You lied, sir. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, okay. Got you, Harvey. Thank you. I appreciate you. All good. All right, let's see when it starts, guys. We're ready. Let me exit out of this. All right, hold on. I'm checking this. I'm going to mute the screen audio for just a second while I check this. All right, so they still got piano music playing, but the earnings should be starting soon. AMD up to 96.50, under 350 left. About $3.45 left until we hit these numbers. Yeah, I know, SPAC. That's what I was saying. I would remember. We still got 350 here, so we're doing pretty solid, in all honesty. There's 96.70s. Still waiting. All right, guys. If it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button. Everything we drop is completely free. We are your free resource for trading. We don't sell anything. We don't charge for anything. We don't claim to be experts. We day trade $120,000 in buying power every weekday morning for free. We start at 6:30 in the morning, so early, and we cover all the major news stories, market news, all that good stuff in the market. So if you haven't already, hit the sub button, hit the notification bell.
On your
All
telephone
right, we are
keypad.
live.
As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. It's now my pleasure to turn the call over to Laura Graves, Corporate Vice President of Investor Relations.
Let me know if you guys
Laura,
can
please
hear
go
everything.
ahead.
Let me know if you can hear. You
Thank
can
you,
hear?
and welcome to AMD's first quarter 2022 financial results conference call. By now, you should have had the opportunity to review a copy of our earnings press release and accompanying slides. If you have not reviewed these documents, they can be found on the Investor Relations page of AMD.com. Today, we will discuss AMD first quarter results, including partial quarter contributions from the acquisition of Xilinx, which closed on February 14th, 2022. We will also discuss AMD results on a standalone basis for the first quarter of 2022. We will refer primarily to non-GAAP financial measures during this call. The full non-GAAP to GAAP reconciliations are available in today's press release and in the slides posted on our website. Participants on today's conference call are Dr. Lisa Su, our Chair and Chief Executive Officer, and Devinder Kumar, our Executive Vice President, Chief Financial Officer, and Treasurer. Victor Peng, President of AMD's Adaptive and Embedded Computing Group, will also join us for Q&A. This is a live call and will be replayed via webcast on our website. Before we begin, I would like to note AMD will host its 2022 Financial Analyst Day on Thursday, June 9th, and our second quarter quiet time is expected to begin at the close of business on Friday, June 17th. Today's discussion contains forward-looking statements based on current beliefs, assumptions, and expectations, speak only as of today, and as such involve risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. Please refer to the cautionary statement in our press release for more information on factors that could cause actual results to differ. With that, I would like to turn the call over to Lisa Su. Lisa?
Thank you, Laura, and good afternoon to all those listening in today. For the last several years, we have been on a journey to both scale and transform AMD. We have consistently executed our strategy, expanded our portfolio of leadership products, and diversified our business, all while driving best-in-class growth. We reached a significant inflection point in our journey during the first few months of 2022, as we took several major steps that fundamentally reshape our business. In addition to delivering record financial results, we closed our strategic acquisition of Xilinx and announced our plans to acquire Pensando. The strategic importance of the Xilinx acquisition to our long-term goals cannot be overstated. As the industry's #1 provider of FPGA and adaptive computing solutions, Xilinx significantly expands our technology and product portfolio. Xilinx also adds multiple high-margin, long-term revenue streams spanning a new set of markets and customers, further strengthening and diversifying our business model. Importantly, Xilinx has successfully executed its own growth strategy in recent years with the increased adoption of adaptive silicon across data center, communications, automotive, and other large embedded markets. With Pensando, we will further expand our data center solutions capabilities. Pensando will add a proven team that has developed an industry-leading DPU and software stack already deployed with key customers, including IBM, HPE, Microsoft, Oracle, and Goldman Sachs. Pensando's differentiated technology further expands our product portfolio and will enable AMD to innovate at the silicon, software, and platform levels to deliver leadership solutions for our cloud, enterprise, and edge customers. Now turning to our first quarter financial performance, we started the year very strong with record quarterly revenue and net income. First quarter revenue, including the contributions from 6 weeks of Xilinx, grew 71% year over year to a record $5.9 billion. We expanded gross margin 7 percentage points to 53% and more than doubled both operating and net income year over year. Excluding Xilinx, revenue grew 55% year over year to a record $5.3 billion. gross margin expanded 5 percentage points to 51%, and operating income more than doubled to a record $1.6 billion. Turning to our computing and graphics segment, revenue increased 33% year over year to $2.8 billion, driven primarily by the ramp of our latest Ryzen and Radeon products. High-end compute revenue grew by a strong double-digit percentage year over year based on higher Ryzen mobile and desktop processor sales. As a result, we believe we gained client processor revenue share for the 8th straight quarter. In desktop, we expanded our processor portfolio with the introduction of 7 new Ryzen CPUs, including the Ryzen 5800 X3D CPU, which is the industry's fastest gaming CPU and first desktop processor featuring 3D stacked chiplets. In notebooks, record mobile processor revenue was driven by the launch of our Rembrandt Ryzen 6000 mobile processors that extend the leadership compute, gaming, and battery life capabilities of our mobile processors. In commercial, we recently introduced our latest Ryzen 6000 Pro processors with leadership performance and battery life and modern security and manageability features. We are well positioned to accelerate our growth in commercial notebooks in 2022 based on the expanded number of design wins on track to launch. Although the PC market is experiencing some softness coming off multiple quarters of near record unit shipments, our focus remains on the premium, gaming, and commercial portions of the market where we see strong growth opportunities, and we expect to continue gaining overall client revenue share. In graphics, revenue grew by a strong double-digit percentage year over year with record desktop graphics channel sales. Desktop GPU sales nearly doubled year over year as sales of our Radeon 6000 series graphics cards were strong. In mobile, the first notebooks featuring our latest Radeon 6000 mobile GPUs launched in the quarter, and we expect sales to ramp over the coming quarters. Data center graphics revenue was flat year over year as we launched our Instinct MI210 accelerators. We expanded our engagements with large cloud customers in the quarter and launched our ROCm 5 software suite targeting exascale class HPC and AI applications. Turning to our enterprise embedded and semi-custom segment, revenue increased 88% year over year to $2.5 billion, driven by record server, semi-custom, and embedded processor sales. Semi-custom sales grew by a significant double-digit percentage year over year based on strong demand for Sony and Microsoft consoles, as well as Valve's new Steam Deck. Sales for this game console generation continued to outpace all prior generations, and we expect 2022 to be a record year for our semi-custom business. Turning to our embedded business, revenue more than doubled year over year, led by growth in automotive. We also secured multiple design wins in next-generation security and firewall devices from Tier 1 networking providers. Turning to server, we had another record quarter as revenue more than doubled year over year and increased by a double-digit percentage sequentially. We have more than doubled server processor revenue year over year in 8 of the last 10 quarters, highlighting the growing demand for our EPYC processors with cloud, enterprise, and HPC customers. Cloud revenue more than doubled year over year as hyperscalers expanded their internal infrastructure deployments and 70 new AMD-powered instances launched from Alibaba, Amazon, Baidu Cloud, Microsoft Azure, Google, and others. There are now more than 460 AMD-based cloud instances available from the largest hyperscalers, with additional instances on track to launch in the coming quarters. In enterprise, revenue more than doubled year over year with strong growth in key verticals, including IT infrastructure, financial services, and database applications. Our sales pipeline continues to be very strong, and we saw our win rate grow in the first quarter across a broad set of enterprise end customers. We launched our first EPYC processors with 3D stacked chiplets in the quarter. This technology extends our performance leadership in technical computing workloads by up to 66% compared to our prior generation. Atos, Cisco, Dell, HPE, Lenovo, and Supermicro all launched servers featuring the new CPUs in the quarter. Excitement for our next generation Genoa server processors continues to grow as we expanded customer and partner sampling in the quarter. We expect Genoa will be the industry's highest performance general purpose server CPU, further extending the performance, energy efficiency, and TCO advantages of our EPYC processors. We remain on track to launch Genoa in the second half of the year and expect to continue our share gain trajectory based on expanded cloud, enterprise, and HPC customer adoption. In addition, development of our higher core count Bergamo processors optimized for high throughput cloud workloads continues to progress well, with shipments on track to begin in the first half of 2023. Turning to the Xilinx business, for the 6 weeks following acquisition close, Xilinx revenue was $559 million. On a pro forma basis for the full quarter, Xilinx delivered its 4th straight quarter of greater than 20% year-over-year revenue growth and the 2nd straight quarter of greater than $1 billion of revenue. In data center, first quarter demand was led by expanded FPGA as a service and SmartNIC deployments at Tier 1 hyperscalers, as well as low latency networking solutions with fintech companies. We saw strength in communications led by wired demand in access and optical transport. In wireless, Versal-based 5G deployments continue ramping in multiple regions, and we secured a strategic design win with a Tier 1 communications equipment provider to power their next-gen baseband solutions with the Versal ACAP solution. We saw strong demand across the Xilinx embedded markets, led by record pro forma full quarter revenue in automotive, industrial, vision and healthcare, and consumer. Looking forward, we see very strong demand across all of the Xilinx end markets and are focused on increasing supply. Turning to our integration work, in the first few months since close, we have seen tremendous excitement from our customers, partners, and employees, and we expect to see significant product and revenue synergies. We now have the best portfolio of high performance and adaptive computing engines in the industry, and we see multiple opportunities to leverage our expanded technology portfolio to deliver even stronger products. As one example, we're integrating Xilinx's differentiated AI engine across our CPU product portfolio to enable industry-leading inference capabilities, with the first products expected in 2023. We have also identified significant additional revenue synergy opportunities with some of our largest customers, as we can now address a larger portion of their compute needs with our expanded product portfolio. In summary, the start of 2022 is a significant inflection point for AMD, marked by record top and bottom line financial results driven by our leadership product portfolio and strong execution, and the close of our Xilinx acquisition. We have now delivered greater than 45% year-over-year revenue growth for 7 straight quarters and increased net income by more than 60% year-over-year for the last 10 quarters. Based on higher AMD organic growth, as well as the addition of Xilinx with strong demand across multiple end markets, we now expect annual revenue to grow by approximately 60% year-over-year, up from approximately 31% growth we guided at the beginning of the year. Longer term, I'm incredibly excited about our additional growth opportunities as we add the Xilinx and Pensando teams. We now see a significantly larger TAM opportunity for AMD across a diverse set of end markets based on our broader portfolio of leadership compute engines and expanded solutions capabilities. I look forward to sharing more about the products and technologies that will enable the next stage of our growth journey at Financial Analyst Day in June. Now I'd like to turn the call over to Devinder to provide some additional color on our first quarter financial performance. Devinder?
Thank you, Lisa, and good afternoon, everyone. The first quarter was an excellent start to the year with strong demand for our leadership products, resulting in record quarterly revenue, continued gross margin expansion, record profitability, and record cash flow generation. In addition, we are very pleased to have closed the Xilinx transaction and announced our intention to acquire Pensando. First quarter consolidated revenue was $5.9 billion, up 71% from a year ago, driven by significant growth across all businesses and the inclusion of Xilinx revenue for the partial period. Excluding the Xilinx contribution, AMD revenue was $5.3 billion, up 55% from a year ago, with data center revenue doubling year over year. Gross margin was 53%, up 660 basis points from a year ago, driven by higher server processor revenue and high margin Xilinx revenue. Gross margin for AMD, excluding Xilinx, was 51%, up 480 basis points year over year, primarily driven by higher server processor revenue. Operating expenses were $1.3 billion compared to $830 million a year ago, as we increase investments in our long-term product roadmaps to support the future growth of our business. Operating income more than doubled from a year ago to a record $1.8 billion, up $1.1 billion, primarily driven by significant revenue growth and higher gross margin. Operating margin was 31%, up from 22% a year ago. Net income was a record $1.6 billion, up $947 million from a year ago. Diluted earnings per share was $1.13 per share, compared to 52 cents per share a year ago. Now, turning to first quarter business segment results. Computing and graphics segment revenue was $2.8 billion, up 33% year over year, driven by higher client and graphics processor revenue. Computing and graphics segment operating income was $723 million, or 26% of revenue, compared to $485 million, or 23% of revenue a year ago. The increase in operating income was driven primarily by higher revenue, partially offset by higher operating expenses. Enterprise, embedded, and semi-custom segment revenue was $2.5 billion, up 88% from $1.3 billion in the prior year. The strong revenue increase was driven by higher server, semi-custom, and embedded revenue. EESC segment operating income grew significantly to $881 million, or 35% of revenue, compared to $277 million, or 21% of revenue a year ago. The higher operating income and margin were driven by increased revenue, richer product mix, and an $83 million licensing gain. Xilinx revenue for the partial quarter was $559 million, with operating income of $233 million, or 42% of revenue. On a pro forma basis for the full quarter, Xilinx generated over $1 billion of revenue, up 22% compared to a year ago, with growth across all Xilinx major end market categories. We are on track to achieve our cost synergy goals for the acquisition and expect the addition of Xilinx to be accretive to non-GAAP earnings per share for 2022. Turning to the balance sheet, cash equivalents, and short-term investments were $6.5 billion at the end of the first quarter. We deployed $1.9 billion to repurchase common stock in the first quarter. To date, we have utilized $3.7 billion of our initial $4 billion stock repurchase program. We also announced a new $8 billion share repurchase program during the quarter. In total, we had $8.3 billion in remaining authorization at the end of the first quarter. Quarterly free cash flow was a record $924 million, compared to $832 million in the same quarter last year and $736 million in the prior quarter. We successfully executed a 5-year, $3 billion sustainability-linked credit facility to replace our existing $500 million facility. This further demonstrates our commitment to our corporate ESG goals. Inventory was $2.4 billion, up $476 million from the prior quarter due to the addition of Xilinx inventory. Before I turn to our financial outlook, let me cover our financial segment reporting. Beginning with the second quarter of fiscal 2022, we plan to change our segment reporting to the following 4 segments: data center, client, gaming, and embedded, which will align our financial reporting with our strategic end markets. I look forward to sharing further details with you at our Financial Analyst Day. Today's outlook is based on current expectations and contemplates the current global supply environment and customer demand signals. For the second quarter of 2022, we expect revenue to be approximately $6.5 billion ± $200 million, an increase of approximately 69% year-over-year and approximately 10% quarter-over-quarter. The year-over-year increase is expected to be driven by the addition of Xilinx revenue plus higher server, semi-custom, and client revenue. The quarter-over-quarter increase is expected to be primarily driven by Xilinx revenue plus higher server revenue. In addition, for Q2 2022, we expect non-GAAP gross margin to be approximately 54%, non-GAAP operating expenses to be approximately $1.56 billion or 24% of revenue, non-GAAP interest expense, taxes, and other to be approximately $270 million based on the 13% effective tax rate, and the diluted share count to be approximately 1.64 billion shares. For the full year 2020, we now expect revenue to be approximately $26.3 billion, an increase of approximately 60%, driven by Xilinx and higher server and semi-custom revenue. We expect non-GAAP gross margin to be approximately 54%, non-GAAP operating expenses to be approximately 24% of revenue, non-GAAP effective tax rate to be 13%, and non-GAAP cash tax rate to be approximately 10%, due primarily to U.S. tax requirement to capitalize R&D and the full utilization of our U.S. net operating losses and tax credits in 2022. Fiscal year 2022 will be a 53-week year and include an additional week in the fourth quarter. In closing, we had an excellent start to 2022 with strong revenue growth across all businesses. We are pleased to have completed the Xilinx acquisition, which strengthens our business model with revenue diversification, accretive gross margin, and increased cash generation. We are very delighted to welcome the Xilinx team to AMD. Looking ahead, AMD is very well positioned for long-term growth, margin expansion, and cash generation driven by our leadership products and roadmaps. With that, I will turn the call back over to Laura to begin the Q&A portion of our call. Laura?
Thank you very much, Devinder. Operator, we're ready to go ahead and begin our first question.
Thank you. As a reminder, if you'd like to be placed in the question queue, please press star one on your telephone keypad. We ask you please ask one question, one follow-up, then return to the queue. Our first question today is coming from Matt Ramsey from Cowen. Your line is now live.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good afternoon. Congratulations, Lisa, on obviously getting Xilinx closed and the strong results. I guess there's a lot going on from a macro perspective in the markets that you serve and in the supply chains, Lisa. So, I mean, the first half of the year, I think you're doing, 54, 55% organic growth in the first quarter. Maybe you could talk me through a bit the puts and takes in the quarter. I think there's a perception that you have additional supply coming online. There's obviously supply constraints and lockdowns in China. Your server business doing extraordinarily well in the numbers that you just printed. And then maybe some perception of a softening in the PC market. So there's a lot going on, and I'd kind of love you to walk me through the puts and takes of the quarter if you could. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Thanks for the question. So we did have a very strong first quarter. There is a lot going on, without a doubt, in the business. I would say, if you look at the strength in our business in the first quarter, it was really broad-based. So very, very strong server results. We continue to gain share. We continue to bring more supply online. There also very strong results in our semi-custom game console business, as well as in the client and graphics businesses. There is some softness in the PC market, But we had for the last number of quarters actually been shifting our mix to the higher end or the more premium segments of the PC market, and so that's where more of our exposure is. And we actually saw a significant growth in our PC business sequentially as we started ramping our Ryzen 6000 notebooks, and that resulted in strong ASP growth, as well as just our key market segments of premium, commercial, and gaming being covered there. As we go forward, obviously, all of the things that you talked about are in play. That being the case, I think we've managed through the supply situations very well. We continue to work with our customers and ensure that we're optimizing our builds to their builds. And with the addition of Xilinx, we also have another set of end markets that have very strong demand that are all additive to our business.
Thank you for that, Lisa. I appreciate all the color. I guess as my follow-up question, I wanted to examine the full year guidance that you've given. Obviously, it includes Xilinx, so it's a little bit apples and oranges from last year. But I think in the press release, you guys mentioned that you expect some upside from the original 31% organic growth guidance. If you have any comments on magnitudes there, that would be helpful. And I think just what investors would love to hear from you is maybe your view on the data center CapEx spending environment and also on the PC market. I think you guys have been maybe a bit more conservative than some of your competition in your market commentary about PCs maybe being flattish coming into this year. I imagine there's some new puts and takes to that. So just some thoughts on how you guys constructed the guidance for the year, especially relative to the original 31%, would be really helpful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so lots of questions in there, Matt. So let me try to go through them. So first on the full year 2022 guide, it is a significant increase in guidance, up 60%. There are a couple of pieces to that. On the organic side of the AMD business, we originally guided up 31% based on what we saw in the market in January. As we look at the market now and our own sort of customer and supply situation, we see that organic growth higher into the mid-30s. That's primarily driven by very strong demand in our server business, very strong demand in our console or semi-custom business, additional supply coming online. We have taken a bit more of a conservative perspective on the PC market. Again, I think the softness is in certain parts of the market. It's not in all parts of the market. And our focus is on where we add the most value in the market, and that is in the premium segments. In terms of the Xilinx piece of it, the full year addition of 3.5 quarters of Xilinx is a significant add. On a pro forma basis, the Xilinx business is also growing very well, and it's growing sort of like in the low 20s if you consider full year compared to calendar year 2021. So overall, I think we have a broad base set of growth drivers and multiple levers for growth as we go through the year. And we continue to working with our customers on where the demand is and ensuring that we're satisfying that demand.
Really appreciate the color, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is coming from Toshiya Hari from Goldman Sachs. Your line is now live.
Thank you for taking the question, and congrats on the strong results and completing the acquisition as well. I had two questions myself. I guess first on the supply chain situation, Lisa, obviously there's a lot going on in terms of wafer supply and substrates, and now the China lockdowns. What are some of the bigger pain points for you, and to the extent the China lockdowns are impacting your business directly or indirectly, are you assuming any impact to revenue and profitability in the second quarter?
Sure, Toshiya. Thanks for the question. So on the supply environment, we've been working on this really for the last 18 months. We've made a lot of progress on both the wafer side and significant investments on the substrates. I would say that we continue to get sort of very good support from our suppliers. That's one of the reasons we can increase our guidance the way it is. From a overall, you mentioned the China COVID situation. From our standpoint, we haven't had any significant impact on our own shipments and our own supply chain. We have been working with some customers that have had some, customer build delays, and that is contemplated in our second quarter guidance. We're going to continue to work on supply optimization, with the addition of Xilinx. Some of the let's call it more mature nodes, 16 nanometer and above, wafer supply is still somewhat constrained. We're working with sort of the larger scale of AMD to try to bring more supply on board there, as well as continuing, to ramp, our overall capacity to support a very strong, next few quarters. Hopefully that answered your supply questions.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And then my second question, my follow-up question was on the data center business. It's great to hear that you've decided to resegment your business. So thank you for that. Curious how meaningful data center was as a percentage of revenue in the quarter, server CPU, data center GPU, and now FPGAs from Xilinx. And I guess more importantly, how are you thinking about the medium to long-term opportunity in both your classic data center GPU business as well as the FPGA business? I think in data center GPU, you mentioned that it was flat in the quarter, but you also talked about being engaged with more cloud customers. So curious what you're seeing there. And then on the FPGA side, I think Victor and team, prior to the deal announcement, was pretty vocal about the long-term growth opportunity there as well. So any update from your perspective would be great. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So again, a few pieces to that. Let me try to give you some color, and then maybe Victor will add on the FPGA side. So in terms of yes, we are going to change our segment reporting, as Devinder said, as of the second quarter to give you more alignment to the markets. In terms of this quarter, for the pieces that you mentioned, on higher revenue, the data center for those pieces was, let's call it low 20s% of our overall revenue. And then in terms of the longer term, data center picture, we are incredibly excited about the opportunity in data center. When you look at the pieces we have now, I mean, the CPU franchise is very strong, continuing to get stronger. We're excited with how Genoa looks and how Bergamo looks and sort of the engagements with customers there. We're excited about the GPU portfolio as well. GPUs for us are a longer term, sort of roadmap, similar to what we did on the CPU side. We had been more focused on, let's call it supercomputing and HPC, so that was strong for us last year, and that's why we're flattish year on year. We're very engaged on the AI front now, continuing our investments in our software stack and working with cloud guys to optimize our software stack. And then moving on to FPGAs, and then also our adaptive SoCs, and then the Pensando acquisition. I think what we now have is just an incredibly strong portfolio when we're dealing with, whether you're talking about the largest cloud hyperscalers or you're talking about enterprise. And then with Pensando and Xilinx, it also gives us exposure to the edge as well. And so between, we have all the compute engines and are able to optimize that. So I think you should expect to hear a lot more from us in the data center, certainly at our financial analyst day, but really strong opportunities there. Maybe Victor, you want to add on something?
Yeah, I think you covered well. The only thing I would add is just, again, I think not only do we have a really broad portfolio of all the compute engines, but we're doubling down on the networking side, right? Since we had strength in that in SmartNIC, and then with Pensando, the kind of solutions that we could provide to customers in the overall infrastructure, right? It's not about point things, it's about the total solution. And as you probably know, scale out and just a lot of these applications, you could be throttled by the network. So we really can optimize all of this. And the customers really want optimized, customized solutions. And I think that's what we could do with both the former Xilinx SmartNIC as well as Pensando, even going further.
Thank you for all the details.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is coming from Vivek Arya from Bank of America. Your line is now live.
Thanks for taking my question. Lisa, my first one is on the server market. Milan helped you take and continues to help you take a lot of share in the market. I'm curious, what's the state of play in front of the next gen Genoa versus the Sapphire Rapids server cycle from two perspectives? First, just from the industry adoption of DDR5, can that be a bottleneck to adoption of these next generation servers? And second perspective is that, you will have two different flavors of Genoa with the cloud optimized version coming later. So just give us your sense of, how this next generation cycle plays out. versus the very strong success you had with Milan so far?
Yeah, absolutely, Vivek. So, the way to think about it is the data center market, and particularly in servers, people are getting much more optimized for workloads, and so there are different flavors, and we see that even in Milan today with Milan and our Milan X, X3D, sort of the X3D we introduced. And so I think it's natural for these solutions to sit side by side. I think as you go into, Genoa, the next generation platform, we would expect, again, the adoption. There's a lot of excitement on Genoa, and there's a lot of customer demand for Genoa. I do expect that Genoa will sit, again, side by side with Milan for quite some time, because you're not going to move the infrastructure instantaneously over. And then when you think about Bergamo, which is the cloud optimized, I think that will be more specific for specific large hyperscalers who have the need for, let's call it a more performance per dollar, performance per watt solution. So the way to think about this, Vivek, is as our business has grown, we can invest more broadly, and that'll give us, just a more optimized solution for our customers' TAMs.
Very helpful. And then, Lisa, my second question, kind of 2 or 3 interrelated question on the PC market. So what is your new sense of what the PC TAM can be this year versus what you thought before? And then I think as part of that, your competitors has mentioned several times that they're back in the market with Alder Lake, and they're taking a lot of share. So I'm wondering what you have seen there. And then finally, what's your share in the commercial market today versus what it was last year? So just something on TAM, competition and commercial exposure. Thank you.
Sure. So Vivek, when we, kind of started the year, we were thinking that the PC TAM could be flat to, let's call it down, low mid-single digits. I think given, sort of how we've started this year and then some of the other things in the market, we're taking a more conservative approach to the PC TAM. So for our modeling for the full year guidance, we're modeling something like down high single digits. Now, a lot of things can happen between now and then, so I would say that I think that's a good place for us to model. Within that, we've always been very focused on, where we can add the most value, and the premium segments, Ryzen 6000, our Rembrandt product, is extremely well positioned from a battery life or performance standpoint. We have a number of commercial, very good systems that are in the process of being launched. I think we're excited about that. To your question about commercial share, we're still underrepresented in the commercial market, and we know that, and that's a focus area for us. I think overall, from a market share standpoint, we believe we're focused in the right segments, and so even under the backdrop of, let's call it, a softer PC market, that we will, we can continue to expect to gain revenue share in the process, and that's sort of our overall strategy. But I think the other piece of it is, we have so many levers in the business now as we go forward. I think the strength in the business is, really, looking at the overall, data center portfolio, the PC portfolio, the gaming portfolio, and the Xilinx portfolio together. There are lots of levers for growth, and as we go through this year, we see that being very, very helpful.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Our next question today is coming from Stacy Rasgon from Bernstein Research. Your line is now live.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my questions. My first one, I wanted to ask about data centers. So it more than doubled last year and more than doubled again this quarter. Do you guys have the supply available to double that business again for the full year? Like if you can get and I guess if the supply is there, like, do you think it can be fulfilled?
Yeah, so Stacy, I think the data center business, particularly the server CPU business, continues to be very strong for us. I'm not going to proclaim a certain, will it double every quarter? I will say that we expect to grow very strongly over the next few quarters, and we are continuing to bring on additional supply to do that. The demand is there, and it really is, about continuing to work with our customers on that. But I think our confidence level in data center growth is very high.
Thank you. For my follow-up, I wanted to ask just a quick question on PC. So in the context of a PC market TAM that you see down or modeling down high single digits, given your mix shifts and your share gains, do you think you can actually grow your client revenues year over year in 2022 for the full year?
Yes, Stacy. We are we are expecting that we will grow client revenues on a year-over-year basis in that time environment, and we continue to mix shift to, let's call it, the more premium segments, and so it's a revenue share statement.
Mm-hmm. Got it. But fair to say much more of the year-over-year revenue growth is things like servers and putting Xilinx aside for a minute, data center and servers and consoles more than client.
Yes, that is true. But our expectation, though, is, again, we have a number of growth drivers in the business, but in terms of what has allowed us to increase the full year guide from an organic standpoint, it is a strong visibility in server, strong visibility on the console side, strong visibility, just from a overall supply and demand perspective.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is coming from Aaron Rakers from Wells Fargo. Your line is now live.
Yeah, thanks for taking the questions. I'll stick to two if I can. I guess my first question is, we think about the server market and your share gains, but more importantly, we also think about the proliferation or expansion of the product portfolio. I'm curious of just what you're seeing from a competitive perspective and your thoughts around continuing to mix higher in terms of the server market, thinking about the blended ASP trends in your server business. How should we think about that as we think about Milan X, Genoa, I guess Bergamo thereafter, just that trend looking forward?
Yeah, so, Aaron, obviously it depends on the mix between cloud and enterprise, but in general, as we offer more value, let's call it more performance, more capability, we would expect our ASPs to mix up. And, in any given quarter, it's more of a, what is the cloud versus enterprise mix. But look, I'm very pleased with the fact that we're growing both cloud and enterprise, very substantially. So I think that tells you that we're growing across the entire server market. And, we're going to continue to, let's call it, optimize products so that, one, our customers get more capability and we get more value for our technology.
Yep. And then the second quick question is, on the capacity discussion, I'm curious, as you bring Xilinx into the model, you scale the business, going forward, how could we think about, flexibility from a perspective of capacity? If PCs slow down, can your capacity be fungible and move that capacity over to servers, or even Xilinx capacity into server CPUs? I'm just curious of how we should think about that ability to mix across product segments as you think about your wafer capacity, agreements.
Yeah, Aaron, the way to think about that is, so, both the Xilinx portfolio and, sort of the organic AMD portfolio do use TSMC. So we are complementary there as our primary wafer supplier. We use very similar substrate suppliers as well. The Xilinx portfolio tends to be on more mature nodes, although there is some 7 nanometer. The majority of the portfolio is on 16 nanometer and above. So I would say there's not that much fungibility there. However, on the back end, on the substrate side, there is very good fungibility across the portfolio. And from the standpoint of overall supply, I think you've heard it from Devinder. I mean, we have invested significantly over the last 18 months in sort of securing the supply and capacity, and we're seeing it come online. And that's again, what I'd like to do is as you see it come online, that's when it'll go into our revenue forecast. But I feel very good about the progress that we're making, and we're continuing to dimension the company for just a much larger business, and so it's a lot of supply that we're bringing online. We're working very much with Victor and his team as well, because he has strong backlog and strong demand, and we're looking to use all of the AMD assets to also accelerate some of his builds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question today is coming from Harlan Sur from JP Morgan. Your line is now live.
Good afternoon, and congratulations on the solid results in closing the acquisition. Lisa, the team has done a great job of supporting all the major enterprise workloads on your latest generation EPYC and driving strong wins on the enterprise side with all of the OEM server guys out there. I'm just wondering how much of the strength in the server business is being driven by the strong enterprise design win traction? And given your pipeline of wins and orders, how big will enterprise be as a percent of your server business maybe exiting this year?
Yeah. So Harlan, thanks. So we've made great progress on the cloud side. So we have strong adoption on internal as well as external facing workloads. We've also made strong progress on the enterprise. I mean, as you said, all major OEMs have EPYC throughout the portfolio. And in this past quarter and in general, we've grown the enterprise business about at the same pace as the cloud business. We're still cloud weighted, but I believe that it's going to be fairly balanced growth across both portfolios.
Perfect. And then maybe a question for you or for Victor, but when I think about the embedded markets, auto, industrial, aerospace and defense, comm, infrastructure, consumer, just given the strong market position here by Xilinx, I mean, they're in a good position to catalyze EPYC attach, to catalyze Ryzen attach to their FPGA solution. So maybe Victor can help us understand, like, what percentage of Xilinx FPGA solutions in the embedded market sits next to either an x86 or high-performance ARM processor? Because I think that the processor opportunity in embedded is much larger than the FPGA opportunity. And I believe that embedded is a pretty small percentage of overall business for AMD. So pretty big opportunity, but wanted to get your views.
Yeah, maybe I'll take this one. I agree with you, actually. One of the things that, many things that's really exciting since we joined AMD is we've done some customer visits, and they're really excited about exactly that point. We have a broader portfolio, and on processors, and even in some areas in the GPUs, it's also great interest. The embedded business at AMD has been selling APUs and embedded versions of both the server as well as the client kind of products. And now with the FPGAs and adaptive SoCs we really can give a much more complete solution. And so that is definitely on the menu of things in terms of revenue synergies, which we'll discuss more at the financial analyst day. But yeah, we're really excited about what we have, even with the existing products. And then, we're already working on our roadmap for, creating more value going forward. So it's great observation.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Harlan.
Thank you. Our next question today is coming from Mark Lipacis from Jefferies. Your line is now live.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Lisa, I think, maybe an easier way for investors to have thought about AMD historically, particularly more recently, is you've been successful in delivering server CPUs for data processing in the data center, and I think people, or at least I have thought about Xilinx historically doing, networking and communications solutions for base stations as well as data centers, and they've kind of moved into this adaptive computing mode where they're doing more data processing also. And I wonder, you've seen other companies with general purpose computing solutions, kind of add a communications capability. And I'm wondering, is there an opportunity for more data processing at the network edge, like say at the base station, where Xilinx has historically been really strong? And do you think the solutions, the architecture that you would have at the base station for the combination of data and communications network processing, do you think that ultimately it looks very similar to what you see deep in the hyperscale data centers, deep in the cloud?
Yeah, sure, Mark. So I think the answer is yes, and maybe I'll generalize it a bit more. We're a big believer. I mean, the whole strategy behind AMD is to have the best sort of compute engines, and then put them together, in solutions for specific end markets. So, I think our CPUs, GPUs, the FPGAs, the adaptive SoCs, and then the DPU that we're adding from Pensando, give us just a tremendous range of capability. So to your specific question, in sort of comms infrastructure, I definitely think there's a strong opportunity there. As Victor mentioned, we've been to a number of our joint large customers, and there is absolute interest in trying to put these solutions together. And more broadly, though, I think what we see in terms of growth going forward, that there will be more customization around solutions for these large customers, whether it's cloud customers or large telcos, or even some edge opportunities. And having these compute engines will allow us to basically optimize those solutions together. So, we look forward to telling you, sort of a lot more about, sort of how we're thinking about these roadmaps as we go into our financial analyst day in June.
And if a follow-up, if I may, how, as you develop those more customized solutions for your larger customers, how important is it to have your own software ecosystem versus to kind of pull everything together versus to kind of rely more on the open source community or other players for that software layer to sit on top of that? That's all I had. Thank you.
Yes, Mark. So the software, is very, very important, and software across all of those engines is important. And Xilinx comes with a very strong, software stack. We have our own software stack. You'll see us, unify them, and that will be an important part of our roadmap, going forward. And to your open source point, we do believe in open source. We think collaboration is an important part of the ecosystem as well. So, all of those are things that we are working on to provide more complete solutions for our customers.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is coming from Ross Seymour from Deutsche Bank. Your line is now live.
Thanks for letting me ask a question. Congrats on a strong quarter and closing the Xilinx deal. Lisa, again, a lot of moving parts. You've said that a bunch of times, so forgive me if I dive into them a little bit. But as we think about your second quarter guide, I just wanted to get some of the moving parts that you're assuming there. 'Cause if I take out the Xilinx side or just give you the full quarter of it and a little bit of guidance there, it looks like the core AMD is kind of growing low single digits sequentially. You've mentioned about the PC side seeing some weakness. You've talked about that a bunch. And then the strength on the server and the semi-custom side. So any sort of color about the puts and takes to get you that organic growth?
Yeah, sure. Ross, thanks for the question. So for the second quarter in particular, the second quarter guide is driven by, sort of one is the full quarter of the Xilinx business, and strength in our server business primarily as we see the second quarter. There are other puts and takes. I would call them on the smaller side of that. If you recall, if you think about, whether you talk about the PC business or the gaming business, they tend to be more second half weighted. So the second quarter doesn't tend to be a strong quarter for those businesses. And so, that's not the driver of the sequential increase.
Perfect. Now, I guess a similar question, a perfect segue in your answer there. When I think about the full year guide, obviously incredibly impressive. You talked about the organic increases. But it looks like, especially with that extra week, that you're kind of going up low or mid to high single digits in one of those quarters and kind of flattish after that just to get to the full year. So similar sort of question. What are the puts and takes there? Is the PC seasonality something you're kind of leaning against a little bit relative to the high single digit drop you've talked about, where you guys will still grow, but maybe not as fast as in years past, given that backdrop? Or is there something else that plateaus out in the second half?
I'm not sure that I see a quote unquote plateau, Ross, so I wouldn't say that. What I would say though is if I give you, sort of the puts and takes of the second half of the year, again, we expect that the server business will continue to grow, as we said, good visibility there. We expect the console business to grow in the second half versus the first half also. That's typical seasonality. Typical seasonality in PCs would also have the second half higher than the first half. I think we're modeling for a little bit sub-seasonal, just given, sort of all the puts and takes in the market there. And then we expect, the Xilinx business to also grow, in the second half as more supply comes online, given the strong demand. So if you see all those, pieces, I don't think there's a plateau. I think it's a continued improvement as we see, one, strong demand and also more supply coming online in the second half of the year.
Thanks for that, and apologies for the plateau word.
No one ever apologizes to me, so that's really nice, Ross.
Operator, we'll take 2 more questions, please.
Certainly. Our next question is coming from Timothy Arcuri from UBS. Your line is now live.
Thanks a lot. My first question is really around semi-custom. The rest of the business has been asked quite a bit. So I guess my question on semi-custom is, Lisa, do you think that it can be a $4 billion business this year? It sounds like it can get pretty close, maybe even get there. And I guess also as part of that question, I think you were thinking next year would be an up year also for semi-custom. But given some of the consumer uncertainty, do you still think that it can be up next year? And then I had a second question. Thanks.
Yeah, sure, Tim. So, without going into the exact numbers, I would say the semi-custom business is a strong growth driver. We have, we work with these customers very closely. We have, good views of where they think the demand is. We're still in a place, if you were to look into the retail channel, you would say that the demand is underserved today in the semi-custom business, and their real build is towards holiday. So. The answer is we do believe that semi-custom will be at a record for us this year. We have more content. We also have the Valve Steam Deck that also has gotten very strong reviews and is ramping as we go into the second half of the year. And then on 2023, I do believe that 2023 will be another strong year for semi-custom and would be up. And again, if you look at the history of these ramps, it's really around the 4th year that you see that you really see the business kind of hit its peak. In addition to that, just knowing some of the game releases that are from a software standpoint that are coming out, there are there's obviously a good lineup there, but there's also an expected strong lineup as we go forward. So yes, that's our current view of the semi-custom business.
Thanks a lot. And I guess just following up on the overall server market, I know that you're not the best read because you're gaining so much market share. But there have been some comments from some of the big cloud customers about quote moderating or slowing investment, and there's some debate about does that mean that there's going to be some slowdown in procurement of servers? So if you strip out your sort of share gain, I'm curious of your assessment of just overall strength in the data center market. Do you see it slowing at all later on this year or even into next year? Thanks.
I would say, Tim, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that particular phenomena. What we do see is that there needs to be good planning. So, good planning with our server customers and our large cloud customers. And, we're doing that. And, our planning extends beyond 2022, extends into 2023 as well. And from what we can see, it's robust demand.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next question is coming from Brett Simpson from Arete Research. Your line is now live.
Yeah, thanks very much. Lisa, I wanted to get your perspective on the AI silicon markets. And, you've obviously focused on HPC with the MI200, and you've got, CPU roadmap on the server side that's, a big host processor for AI. But can you share with us how we should think about AMD in the next sort of, 2-3 years around areas like AI training, areas like inference, particularly with the GPU portfolio, MI300, et cetera. And when do you think this platform is really going to be able to sort of compete and win in the AI training and inference space? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start, Brett, and then I'll ask Victor to also make some comments. No question, AI is a huge opportunity for us, and it's one where we're thinking about it very holistically in terms of how we address. So, on the server CPU side, a lot of inference is done on the server CPU side. We've been investing in that area. On the GPU side, for both training and inference, a lot of it is around the software stack, and so our focus is on optimizing our software stack with our large cloud, customers and partners. And then what Xilinx brings to our portfolio is actually a lot of capability on the AI inference side in their current portfolio, and then additive to the AMD portfolio. So I think you'll see a much broader set of offerings from us in AI as we start talking about sort of the broader product roadmaps. And maybe Victor, you want to give some more?
Yeah, I mean, like we have this AI engine that is already deployed in production in a number of embedded applications and endpoints, in also edge devices like in cars, doing a lot of image recognition, all kinds of inference applications, and that same architecture can be scaled and brought into the CPU product portfolio. And as we've alluded to, that is exactly our plan. We're also, a moment ago, was a discussion about software. We're absolutely working on the unified overall software to enable the broad portfolio, but also especially in AI. So you'll hear more about that at the Financial Analyst Day, but we're definitely going to be leaning in on AI, both inference and training, and I would say end to end, because we have endpoints, we have edge devices, both computing and embedded devices, and in the cloud and enterprise. So we're very excited about that revenue synergy opportunity, actually.
Well, AMD hit 100 today. Let us know, guys.
Great. And
bro, how many questions are they going to ask here, dude? There's like 30 questions.
In terms of AMD, from a software monetization perspective, we're obviously seeing big changes in the way you're addressing software. You're moving up the software stack to a higher level of abstraction. Is this somewhere you think, over the next 2 or 3 years, do you plan to charge for software? And can you share with us maybe how we might think about AMD as a software business going forward? Thank you.
Software business.
Yeah, I think, Brett, we have, maybe it's a broader conversation about our overall, software strategy. But as Victor mentioned, the unified software capabilities around AI are very, very important. We also have, with the acquisition of Pensando, they have a very strong software, team and effort around their DPUs and what we can do there. So I think as a total, you should see us investing a lot more in software. And then in terms of the monetization and stuff, I think we can address that more as we think about the overall solution space that we'll be offering across all of these compute engines. And again, much more great conversation that we can have as we come into our Financial Analyst Day in June.
Thank you, Lisa. And as a reminder to everyone on the call, our Financial Analyst Day will be on Thursday, June the 9th. We look forward to having you there. We'll also be webcast from our website. And thank you to everyone for your participation in today's earnings call. As
all right,
always,
team.
We appreciate your
good luck,
support of our
guys.
company and look forward to speaking with you again soon. Thank you.
All right, team. So that's the end of the earnings call. Let me know if you think AMD is going to hit $100 per share either today or tomorrow morning. I think if it's going to happen, it'll probably be pre-market tomorrow morning. It's certainly possible. We're hovering just under $98 per share, and we're definitely going to be watching this. We start live streaming at 6:30 a.m. market time every single weekday morning right here on YouTube. We don't sell anything. We don't charge for anything. We don't claim to be experts. We give all of our content away for free without claiming to be an expert or a professional or anything like that. And so if you want a completely free trading resource that's not going to try to shill a course to you afterwards, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We will be live tomorrow trading $120,000 in buying power every day like we always do. Good luck. We'll see you all then. Appreciate all the love and support. Hit that subscribe button. You want to try it one time, see how it feels. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, team. Later, guys.